morning. I'm Dr. Susan, and I welcome you to Play and Learn. And I also want to welcome you to the month of December. This is our second video for the month of December. And this month, the entire month, we're going to relate to the holidays that are being celebrated by lots of people in many different ways in which we can express. And the three main things that we're going to be looking at this month is Hanukkah and Christmas and Kwanzaa and whatever other things that we happen to come up with. So in this particular video, we're going to take a look at the book, The Polar Express. I know this came out many years ago, but it's always been one of my favorite holiday stories. So today is a little bit, or mostly about the story. And then I had this other idea of how we could create something that would remind us about the journey that this little boy took to give him an insight into what believing is about. So let's take a look at the book, and then we'll do a little bit of a project that you might have fun creating for yourself for the holidays. All right? So let's take a look at the book. There we go. All right. The Polar Express. And right at this moment in time, they have the author hidden. I can't even see who the author is. We'll look on the next page. Maybe it's there. Nope, we're going to go right into the story, so we'll see about the other parts later. All right. One Christmas Eve many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I didn't hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sounds of hissing steam and squealing metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. I was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest. He then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe, and I tiptoed downstairs and out the door. All aboard, the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. Well, he said, are you coming? Where? I asked. Why, to the North Pole, of course, was his answer. This is the Polar Express. I took his outstretched hand as he pulled me aboard. Wouldn't it be a fun adventure? As soon as our page will turn. There we go. Whoops. I think I want one too many pages. Let's go back. There it is. All right. There's the train. The train was filled with other children, all of in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candy with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot chocolate as thick and rich as melted candy bars. Outside, the lights of the towns and villages flickered in the distance as the polar bear raced northward. Soon, there was no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we would scrape the moon, but the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. There's the train. going all the way up to the top of the mountain. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. There, said the conductor, is the North Pole. The North Pole, it was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first we saw no elves. They are gathering at the center of the city, the conductor told us. That is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift, we all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. Look, shouted one of the children. The elves are outside. We saw thousands of elves standing. Our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole. We slowed to a crawl. So the crowd spread where the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. There are a lot of elves. Whoops, and my finger pushed too fast. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeers were excited. They pranced and pranced, ringing the silver bells that hung from their harnesses. It was a magical sound, like nothing I'd ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us and, pointing to me, he said, let's have this fellow here. He jumped into his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, now, what would you like for Christmas? I knew that I would have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside Santa's big bag. What I wanted more than anything was one of the silver bells from Santa's sleigh. When I asked, Santa smiled. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood holding the bell high above him and called out, the first gift of Christmas. A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed me the bell to me and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out to the reindeers names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled above us, then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see my bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the children said. But the train had a sudden lurch and started moving. We were on our way home. It broke my heart to lose the bell. When the train reached my house, I sadly left the other children. I stood at my doorway and waved goodbye. The conductor said something from the moving train, but I couldn't hear him. What? I yelled out. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Merry Christmas, he shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from its whistle and sped away. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When I looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one little box behind the tree. It had my name on it. Inside was the silver bell. There was a note. Found this on the seat of my sleigh. Fix the hole in your pocket. Signed, Mr. C. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I ever heard. But my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." "Yes," said my father, "it's broken." When I shaken the bell, my presents had not heard a sound, my parents. Plus the presents, I wonder if they heard the bell. But he said, when I'd shaken the bell, my parents had not heard a sound. At one time, most of my friends could hear the bell, but as years passed, it fell silent for all of them. Even Sarah found one Christmas that she could no longer hear its sweet sound. Though I had grown old, the bell rings for me as it does for all who truly believe. The end. There's the Polar Express moving its way through. Thanks to our great producer Greg for adding that beautiful picture for us. So the story is, yes, it's a wonderful story. And the story had a whole lot to do with the idea of believing. And as the story went on, you could see that it seemed like he was in a dream, that he just dreamed this. Yet, Christmas morning, he opened the package and there was his bell. He received the very first Christmas present, which was really cool. But the bell in the story had so much more in it. It had all those boys and girls that were on the train. And one of the important things that he learned on his trip was that even though someone may have said this isn't true, he believed it in his own mind and in his own heart, that this was true, that there was that wonderful spirit of Christmas that's always in everyone. And as it said at the end of the story, even as an adult, he could still hear the bell ringing. So his belief in the joy and the love and the things that the Christmas spirit is all about is always there. And we carry it every single day. And we carry it in our hearts, which is where it resides. All of our belief and our love and all of that. And the things that we get to experience, which would be always in December, the wonderful gifts, the music, the friends, the family, the events and things that we get to enjoy. All of that related back to that idea that we all hold the Christmas spirit and Christmas love. And it doesn't matter whether we, in our beliefs and everything else, whether we believe it with the joy, or sometimes it's disappointment. We don't always receive everything that we had in mind. But in what we did receive was the gift. And the gift is believing. And the gift is knowing that when you receive something, you receive it with an open heart and with gratitude. And then when we give that to someone else or return that to someone else, they receive that. And you know what? They take that into their heart and their minds, and then they give their gifts, whatever those gifts are, to the next person. And it goes on and on and on like that. So the Christmas bell, or the sound of bells, is just kind of remembering that idea and that important part of it. So it's a really, really fun story. If you don't have the book, you can get it. You can get it online at Amazon, and I know that Target carries it, and a couple of other stores around the city carry it. So it's a favorite book of mine, and I love to read it to my grandkids and during Christmas time, because it gives that place where we go and remember the love and the belief and everything else that relates to the Christmas holiday. So I thought it would be kind of fun today is if we took the idea of the bells and the things relating to the bells that remind us of all of the things that we have. and all of the stuff we get to experience. So we're going to make that this morning. I have these things here. If you wanted to make something like this, you just need to get bells, and they're like this, and you can hear them. They look like that, so I'm going to lay them down here so you can see them. The bells are there, and you can get cord, you can use string, you can use just about anything you want to tie on the bell. So, and then I have this rod. I just had this rod, so you can see it. And I've already done one bell, so I could show you how to put the bells together. And the reason why I kind of thought about this was that we always come to that point where we do the countdown for Christmas, you know, the 12 days. And I know there's a song about that too, the 12 days of Christmas. And so I thought it might be kind of fun to kind of make our own little musical instrument with the bells. So this is the first bell, and we're going to label the bells with some words that'll remind us when we ring them, to remind us of all those things that kind of all go together to make that whole idea and that whole experience. So the first one, we've got the first one done. So I'm going to show you how to do them. And like I said, and you could hang them on a dowel. You could use a hanger if you wanted to, and then you'd have a little hook at the top where you could hang it up if you wanted to use a hanger. And if you did use a hanger, you could wrap the hanger with ribbon or with Christmas fabric or whatever Mom has around that she'd help you do that with. So then you could hang it up and listen to the music all the time. All right? So you can make a Christmas hanger of bells. So this is just a rod that I had, so we're going to use that for right now. But I'll work on that idea of using the hanger. That's a good idea. So we take that, and we're going to lay it down here. So you're going to take, and you need Scotch tape, string, bell. And depending on the width of the string, in order to get it through the little loop at the top of the bell, sometimes the width is a little hard to get it in there, so it goes. So I just push it through a little bit, and then I use this needle that I have, and I pull it through the rest of the way. And it comes through just like that. Then you just take a little bit of the end and fold it up, just like that. So you're making like a little hook, like a little loop. Take a piece of Scotch tape and put it around the loop. Pull the pieces together. Pull them tightly together, and then just wrap the Scotch tape around it. So we'll just go all the way around till we take the whole piece and we get it all together. All right? So there's the bell. Then we're going to take the same idea. We're going to loop it around the rod. You can have it as close to the other bell as you want to. You could make it the same length if you want to, so they kind of clink together. Or you can make it shorter, a little shorter than the other bell. Seeing how you have, however you choose to do that. If we put it close together, then they kind of hit one another. Okay? So you do the same idea. You take a loop, loop the cord around it, same principle, and you take the tape. This one I just went across the top first to hold it in place, like that. Then I went down here, and I took another piece of tape, like that. Oops, that one rolled on top of itself. And then go around this, just like you did with the bell. And that kind of reinforces it and keeps it so that the this piece just so that it keeps it across like that. It's a little more difficult when you're trying to hold two things at one time, but you'll get it. And just wrap it around the two pieces of cording and then pinch it. Kind of holds all the tape together. Okay, so there's two. So we're going to go ahead and put this, and I did 12 strings for 12 bells, because let's take the idea that we want to remember special things about the holidays and special events. Every family has something. Sometimes they have something very different. Some families on Christmas Eve or during the Christmas holiday is they go out Christmas caroling with maybe their neighbors or their friends, or they go with their church. Sometimes the churches go out and do that. Of course, I don't think we'll have the opportunity this year, but you could still do that. It'd be fun. You could try to arrange with your family and friends that maybe you could do something on the internet where you could get together. I think it's called Zoom, and you guys could still do Christmas caroling. You would just do it from your computer, whether it's in your dining room or your living room or your bedroom or wherever it happens to be. And you could do the same thing. Okay? So there's that part. Now we're going to take the other one and just loop it around a little bit. You can make it the same length, you can make it shorter, longer, whatever you'd like to do. And just tape that first piece down. That makes it easier to hold. And if you want to keep it as something that maybe is permanent, you can use each year that when you put up your Christmas decorations and things, that you can, let me lay this down, it's a little easier, that you can take it out and remember the opportunity and the time that you made the first one. It's almost like the first Christmas gift, right? That you made this and remind you of all the fun things that you had that particular year that you made it. So it's a nice memory thing too. So there we have 3. So I'm going to do the rest of them on here, and then I'm going to go through and we can talk about maybe the words that you'd like to put on the bells. Now on the bells, it's a little difficult to write on these bells, and it's hard to see them. So what I did is I took these little round labels that you can get at the stationery store, or maybe Mom has them laying around. You never know. You could always just ask Mom to help you with it. And you take a pen. You need a sharp pen to do that, because writing on the bells, it just doesn't stay on. It just slides right off. Okay, so I'm just going to put one piece of tape across. That'll go a little bit faster, and I'll tape the bottom parts later. So I'll just tape this one here. And I'll go back and do the rest of the taping later. Okay, then we'll do another bell. But some of the words that are important to you and important to maybe your family or your special friends and things like that. Now you could, if you wanted to, is you could take the bell, get the bells, and make a bell for each person in your family. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the people in that live in your house. They could be maybe your grandparents or your cousins or maybe your friends that you would like to remember and to have special thoughts about them during the holiday time. You know, so you might want to make a bell specifically for them. Okay, so we got that one. So, you know, as we go along, see how they have fun twisting around too. But you'll see how it works. How it goes like that. So we're gonna. So we have 5. So we have 7 more bells to put on here, and I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as I can. And sometimes the string doesn't necessarily want to be cooperative. And you can use this is cording, but you don't have to use cording. You can use ribbon, or you can use just regular string to hold the bells. It's whatever you'd like to do. So we just use the same process each time. Take the tape and wrap it around and pull the two pieces together and then squish it so it squishes the tape together. So we go like that. It doesn't take a whole long time, but it's a fun project to maybe do at home with your family. It'd be a fun project to do. And then you can go back, once you get them all on, then you can go back and retape the top parts. You can do that. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and we'll finish the rest up, but I just want you to get the idea of the words. So maybe while I'm putting the rest of the bells on, you can sit and think about what kind of words you'd like to put on your bell. Well, the first one that I thought of is how important it is to believe in who you are, to believe in what you understand, and to believe in all the things that are important to you. I use red because it's easy to see. I think you can see that. But it says believe. That's the first one. And the other one that I thought of that I like, that reminds me of all the different songs and things that we sing at the holidays, is joy. It always brings me joy. And when the family gets together, or I send out Christmas cards, because we can't send out a whole lot of other stuff, Christmas cards are very fun. And the other cool part is to make your Christmas cards, make your own Christmas cards. That's a fun project. And you can make them with just about anything you want. That would be something you could talk to Mom about, the things that you would like to create them. So this one says love. And the family is filled with love, and it just seems to show up a whole lot more during the holidays. And kind of the goal maybe for the next year is to, when we do think of our family, that's the first word what comes up, the believing in them and the love we hold for them all. And here is home. That's one of the words that is important to me, is my home. And of course, in my home is my family. Whether it's 2 people, 1 person, 5 people, maybe 10 people. It depends how big your family is. So I'm going to put family on that one. And then when we step out our front door, guess what we think about? We think about our friends. So I want to have a bell for my friends. I'm just doing one bell for the whole pack of them. Okay? That represents all of my friends. So I have that one. And then we're going to add another bell, and we'll do these so we get all of the words on here. But this can be your things that remind you of how important family is and how important it is to not only have that belief that the little boy had about Santa Claus, but the belief that he had in himself. Because we have to believe in ourselves before anybody else will believe in us, right? Our parents and our teachers, they believe in us. They believe and know that we're able to achieve all the things that we have in our thoughts and our feelings and things. It's like you have ideas about what you might like to do when you get older. You know, some boys and girls have the love for sports, that likes playing sports. And when they watch sports on TV, maybe they see themselves as a football player, a linebacker, or a basketball player, or a quarterback, or you know, somebody that plays ice hockey. That's a sport too that some people love to play, and soccer and tennis and baseball. There's just so many different things that, you know, we have aspirations or desires to do. And then there are some boys and girls, and there's some people that can pick up a pen or a pencil and create beautiful pictures just by what they look at. Or they see something in their head, and then they can draw it down on a piece of paper. I think that's amazing that people can do that. Just amazes me. that they're able to do that. But you know what? When they started out, just like you guys, when you start out, the best thing you can do is a stick figure. That's perfect. But the older you get and the more talented, not talented, but the more you're able to coordinate with your fingers and your thinking process, the more things you're able to accomplish. And then a lot of people just, for some, I guess they call it talent, a natural talent or whatever, that they're able to look at it and go, oh, I know how to do that, and it just happens. I think that's the most amazing thing. But that's a natural talent. And I didn't discover what I really enjoy doing and that I'm really good at doing was I'm really good at sewing. I can look at a pattern or I can look at something and go, I want to figure out how to make that or how I can do a good job of making that easier. So that's what I like doing. And I can follow a pattern and I can create my own. And it's like some of the other things that we create here on Play and Learn. I look at something and I go, how can I make that into something else? And I go about doing that. And I guess that's a talent, if you want to label it a talent. I guess it is. So, but that's some of the things that's the things that I do. I'm sure lots of you have different ideas and ambitions and things that you would like to do. And it all starts with that word that the little boy was talking about in the front of the story, was believing in yourself. I believe I can do this. And so you set out. Sometimes we discover that, oh, this didn't come out so terribly good. And we try a different way. And those ways, and how did you think of that? How did you know that? Well, there's just that little thing inside of you that just says, well, try it. You thought of it, so try it and see if it's going to work. And some of it does, and some of it doesn't. And when it doesn't, guess what we get to do again? We get to try again, or we get to think again and say, well, maybe there is a better way to do that. I wonder what that is. And sometimes when we get to that place, when we discover that, is that, oh, maybe I need to see about doing some research or talking to someone that knows how to do that and finding out what they know. And then I've got myself stuck to the tape here. There we go. But when we've discovered that and find the right people that know more about it than we do, boy, that's how we learn and that's how we gain more knowledge, and it just adds to that belief that we have that we're able to do this. So I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more bell, and we got all 12 made. That went faster than I thought it would. But the whole thing and the whole idea starts out with that belief. Starts out with that magic word of, what do I believe? Do I believe in that? Can I do that? Do I even want to try? That's another one of the things. Do I even want to try that? You look at some things and go, oh, no, I'll leave that up to somebody else. I just don't want to do that. That just doesn't interest me. And that's okay. It's okay for that not to interest you. Because the more things you try and the more experiences that we have, teach us all those wonderful things. All right? So there is our last bells. Now we have 12 bells. So I'm going to hang the rest of those on here. This is kind of fun. Does that have cool sound? Does that sound like Santa's sleigh? Yeah, I'm just going to do, like I said, I'm just going to do the top tape. There's that one. And then the next one. So maybe not all of them are the same length. I don't think that really matters because it's your creation and you can have it however you choose. You could use different colors. It'd be kind of cool to have different colored ribbon on each one of them, That would be fun. And see, I have 3 more to go. So I'm going to make sure we have all the room we need. And we're going to add more. We got lots of tape here too. Isn't that nice? And tape is easy to use. There's that one. And we're going to add this one. Okay. Whoop. Go down a little more. Want to be sure I leave enough string there so that I can wrap some more tape around it. And if you could think of another clever way to hang these, that would be your idea, and your idea of taking this thought or this idea and making it better. Thinking, oh, I know a better way to do that. And isn't that how we make things greater for other people? And then someone else might look at this and go, oh, I think that might be cool. How about if I use a tree branch? I get like a long twig or something and do that and hang the bells on it. And then you could take that, whoops, that one got away. You could take that same idea and do it on a tree branch, and you could take the tree branch and put it in a tree. Maybe the birds would enjoy the sounds, you know, or they might make sounds with them. So there's our bells. Okay, so let's lay these down so we can finish the last words that I had picked out for me, and then you can pick out the words that you like the best and hang them on your bell. See, we left off here. So the other one that I did is blessings. I am always trying to pay attention to all the blessings I have in my life, in knowing that I have the opportunity to spend time with you and show you different things and give you different ideas of how to do things. And then you can take them and make them even better. And always, when I get frustrated or things aren't working out, I know that I can always go back to that calm place. Take a breath, sit down, and just allow all that frustration and stuff to just melt away. And then I can be in that calm place and then go, okay, now I'm ready to start again to whatever it is that I was trying to get accomplished. And the other word that I liked was happy. I like to come from a happy place, because if I come from a happy place, I know things that come back to me are going to come back in that happy mode. Okay, and peace. I want my life to be peaceful, and I want everyone else's life to be peaceful too, that they're able to find that place inside of them that makes them calm and comfortable and loved. So peace is the start of that. And then light. Do you know that when you smile at somebody or a stranger that doesn't know you, but you smile anyway, that might light up their day and make them feel so wonderful because you smiled at them? So you shared the light that you have inside of you so that someone else can feel that warmth and feel that love, because behind light is love, and it all comes from our heart. And that's going to be my last one on my bell, is heart. All right? So we've got all the bells, and they're really cool. Isn't that fun? So you have those, and then each one of the bells has a name, has a purpose, and sends out messages. So these are messages to my friends and my home and my family, and peace to the world too. So we have all of that. I'm trying to hold it down so you can see it. So there's our Christmas bells, and you can just put your finger across like that. And remember, and we can keep in mind from our story that this was the first gift of Christmas, was the bells and the music that comes from the bells. And if you think about it, where else do you hear bells? Churches. Church buildings have bells, and those are beautiful. And I know when the orchestra plays, when they have the orchestras and all those hundreds of instruments that they have in the orchestra, there is I don't know what it's called. I think it's called chimes, but I'm not positive. But it's on a stand, and it's all these rods that are lined up, and the person goes like this, and it makes that really pretty music. Ours makes the bell sound. So this is the bells. So we have the Polar Express to be grateful for this idea, and that we can take bells and make beautiful music and remind ourselves of the joy and the light and the love that we have within ourselves that we can give not only to our family, but to our friends and to our world. So have fun with the bells, okay? And have a good time doing it. Be sure to ask Mom to, if you don't have bells, to pick up some bells. Maybe you can do some extra chores or something to earn the money to make this fun little project. So anyway, these are some Christmas bells just for you. And so I hope you have fun with them. And read the Polar Express. It's a lovely, lovely book. It's a great story to read. And you older boys and girls, read them to your younger sisters and brothers, because they'll like the story too. All right? So you guys have a great rest of the day and week, and I'll see you later on in the month with other different ways in which we can celebrate the holidays, not only Christmas, but the other ways in which we can celebrate just being who we are and believing in ourselves and in our world. So thanks very much. You have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.